What's up, guys? Coach AK here, back for another mind perspective video, if you will. Wanted to touch on the subject of motivation. So to get right to the point, motivation is one of those kind of sticky subjects these days. There's a lot of back and forth as far as the validity of motivation, how useful it is, especially when it comes to reaching physique goals and health goals and things like that. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. So we've seen this huge pendulum swing throughout the years, where, previous years, motivational speeches were super popular. Look up YouTube, motivational speeches, motivational speakers getting millions and millions of views and shares. We had this push of, just, you got to find the motivation, you just need the motivation to get started, and all that's great and all that. And then, in more recent years, you've seen the swing to the opposite side of the pendulum. That's like, motivation's crap, motivation only lasts you for a short amount of time. And, it's really just overblown, and it's a overused term. And, motivation doesn't mean anything. You don't need motivation. You just need discipline. You just need to suck it up and do the work, all that good stuff. And there's some truth to both sides of that pendulum swing, as there is in most situations, but there's also just a lot of just unnecessary thinking when it comes to it. So what is my perspective when it comes to motivation, and what I like to express to my clients and so on and so forth? Motivation is fantastic. It's a great thing. All of us should be motivated to do something. Motivation is it's the drive to change. It's that desire. It's like, it's an emotion. I feel like that's the flaw that people have when thinking about motivation, is they don't realize that it's an emotion. They think it's like this force or some weird way of thinking, but it's really just an emotion. You're motivated. You're driven to do something. You're motivated. So that's a great thing, and we need motivation. We need, especially when you're talking about making lifestyle changes, when you're talking about doing things that are out of your normal routine, like getting into the gym, eating healthier, things like that. You need the motivation to get started, because chances are, if you're not motivated to do it, the chance of you actually creating a habit out of that act is very, very, very slim. So motivation is great. However, a lot of people think when you get motivated that that's going to last you, and that the way that you feel, that emotion that you're experiencing, is going to drive you the entire process of however long it's going to take for you to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And I also feel like that is a flaw, because motivation is very fleeting, just like all emotions. You're mad one minute, you're happy the next minute, you're sad, you're feeling infatuated, you're feeling, whatever it may be. There's all these different type of emotions that we experience, and they all tend to come and go. None of them last very long. They're fleeting with the moment and the environment and the situation that we're in. So motivation is the same way. You can have super high motivation, you can be super driven, and as soon as life happens, as soon as things get hard, as soon as you start struggling, as soon as your routine gets thrown off, now what do? Because most likely that motivation is no longer there. And a lot of people feel like, oh, see, I'm done, I quit, I can't do it, I don't have the motivation to do it, so it must just not be for me. And like I said, that's not the best way to look at things. So what does that leave us? That leaves us, as usual, with most things, right in the middle of the pendulum. So realizing that motivation is great, say you're about to go to the gym and you're kind of tired, you got decent sleep, recovery's all right, you're just, you're having one of those days, or you're a little bit more stressed out, or heck, you just want to chill on the couch and eat Cheetos and watch your favorite Netflix show. But instead, you turn on YouTube and you watch your favorite fitness influencer or whoever it may be. You watch a training video of them, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, see, I just need to suck it up. I'm just being a wimp. I just need to all right, now I'm motivated to get up and go to the gym. That's a great thing. But expecting to always be able to turn on a video and always being able to be motivated by your favorite influencer, chances are that's not always going to be that way. There's going to be days where you can watch all the fitness videos you want and still be like, you know what? I'm still stopping and getting a pizza, and I'm going to veg on the couch. So that motivation isn't going to likely be enough to keep you driven. So what do? Where do we go from just having motivation? We need to allow that motivation to turn into discipline. This means that now we're taking the desire to do something and we're pairing it with our actual actions and doing it repeatedly. So that becomes discipline. Now, those days where you're not getting the motivation from those things you normally get it from, you can now fall back on your discipline and say, you know what? Yeah, I don't feel like working out. Yeah, I'd rather do this. But you know what? This is what I do. I do this every day, and I need to get the job done. So my discipline is what's going to drive me. Once you develop the discipline to do something, now it's no longer a matter of how you feel in the moment. It's just what needs to be done. I'm going to do it. Then you start to be able to rely on your habits. So the motivation can lead you to developing discipline. Developing discipline can lead you to establishing habits. Once you've established habits, now you can use motivation and discipline together in order to drive you to do something. But even if both of those are lacking in a certain moment, those habits are what's going to keep you driven. So say, for example, you have the discipline, you have the motivation, but life happens, things get hard, you get sick, whatever happens, and you literally can't train, whatever it is stalls your training for a certain amount of time. Well, where do you go from there? Your discipline is going to fade pretty quickly. As soon as you stop doing the normal things that you do that keeps your discipline intact, that discipline is going to disappear. The motivation is going to go out with that. So now what do you have? Well, if it's a habit, if you've actually developed a habit over time to train and get in the gym and get the feeling that you normally do, now when both of those are off, say it's been an extra 4 days that you haven't trained when you normally do, well, now your discipline's off, your motivation is off, but because it's a habit to train on a regular basis, now no matter how long you're out of it or how long you're down, you could pick yourself up and say, you know what? This is part of my normal life and I just don't feel right when I'm not doing it. So yeah, maybe you had to take some time off for whatever situation, but there's always that itch inside of you. There's always that drive to get back to it because it's become part of your daily life. It's become part of your daily structure. You can apply this to nutrition as well. Say, you have the motivation to change your eating. So you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. Yeah, I'm fired up. I'm ready to lose this weight. I'm ready to feel better. I'm ready to get healthy. I'm tired of supporting all these food companies, whatever it may be. That's your motivation. Well, using that motivation, you start to take action. You develop discipline. So now it's a matter of not just, oh, I'm super excited to eat this healthy food. It's, you know what? It's mealtime and I know I need to eat this meal, so I'm going to eat it. Or, you have the motivation to not buy that candy bar, but then that motivation weighs a little bit and it starts to fade and now you're feeling weak and now you're like, oh, that candy seems a little bit more tempting. But because of the discipline that you have built, you could say, you know what, even though I do want it, even though it sounds so much better than it did before, even though I don't really feel like eating my healthy food, I've developed a discipline to still say no to that candy bar. Well, say life goes on. Let's say you celebrate the holidays and the holidays come around and now you've got all this junk food around you all the time and it's just in your face. And then maybe, work gets extra stressful because it's the end of the year, whatever it may be. And now next thing you know, you're a month in and you've been eating terrible. You've gained 10 pounds, you feel like crap. And then you're like, well, what do I do now? Well, if you've spent time using that motivation, building that discipline and establishing those habits, then it's like, man, this has been a long 3 weeks of just eating everything and all that, but I'm so used to meal prepping. I'm so used to going and buying the healthy foods. I'm so used to feeling a certain way when I do these things. I'm so used to the benefit it gives me that because I'm so used to that habit, I'm always have that itch in me to get back to doing what I know works for me and what I enjoy doing. So yeah, the food tastes great, the junk's all that's good, but it's like, man, say, whatever, say the first of the year you're getting back on the grind, December 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, you're just itching like, man, I'm just so ready just to eat healthy food. Like I just miss the way I feel. And that's because you've made that a habit at one point. So like I said, this can be applied to any aspect of your life. But specifically when it comes to fitness and nutrition, because, well, that's what I do. So that's where it's most applicable in my opinion. So like I said, motivation's great, but you cannot live in a place of motivation, just like you can't live in a place of any specific emotion. Things are going to change. Your feelings are going to change. You need to have more. Discipline is great. Developing discipline is very, very important to actually see through a goal in its entirety. But discipline can be interrupted by life circumstances, by our emotions and our feelings, and by lots of other things. So when we couple all that, or combine all of that with habit building and habit formation and establishing these good habits, then we really have just all things working in our favor. If one is fading, we can lean on the other one for support to get us through to that next moment. So like I said, find what motivates you, but don't just let it stay as motivation. Don't leave it as an emotion. Set you a game plan, establish a plan, start enacting that plan, getting that feedback of what's working, what's not, what's helpful, what's not. And then over time, being consistent with that plan, you will develop those habits. And then now it'll just be second nature for you to do these things, and you just won't feel like your normal self if you're not doing them, because now it's become part of who you are. So hope that's helpful to somebody. Find your motivation, build your discipline, establish your habits, and let's kill these goals together. I will see y'all later. Y'all have a blessed, fantastic weekend. I'm going to enjoy a great Sabbath and a great Sunday, and we're going to keep rocking this thing. So I will talk to y'all later. Love, peace, chicken grease. Holla.